Okay, so let's do this. Let's clean this. I will clean this. Well, we can clean it in a few minutes.
I clean, you facilitate.
Okay, so this is the plan for today, right? I know that you are here for a reason, right? Am I right or wrong?
Of course.
Okay, so I imagine that you have certain questions that you want some answers and get some ideas or some orientation. So my plan that Angel probably is going to come up with something else, but now he's cleaning, he can't think while he's doing something, we can do something.
I can think.
We are very good friends in real life.
Really?
Yeah. So,
We can feel that.
so the plan is, first you ask a question, and then we use all the techniques we know, or at least one, to answer that question. That the technique can be just to answer that, or to come up with a framework, or to recommend some reading, or whatever. Okay? So there is something that is painful for you at the moment. I can feel it. And then, so just who wants to go first? Should we start from the middle?
Okay, actually there are three of us from the same company.
Okay, can you introduce yourself?
Of course.
A bit short, your company and that's it.
So that was the overture. So we come from pharmaceutical company.
Okay.
Oh, really?
It's Roche. Yeah.
Roche.
On this
I was
conference,
working
wow,
for
that's
Roche.
cool.
Oh, really? Roche. You know, Roche bought in Latin America. They bought my book, like dozens of my book, to give to the leaders. Yeah, because one
I thought
person
they bought a lot of books to do a fire, big fire.
fire. So what happened is,
We do that actually.
in Latin
That's
America,
around fire.
the person was organizing some agility and leadership, and then they bought like many. He read the book and he loved it, and then he bought the books. Then I was in Dubai, and then one of the guys was from La Roche, and they were trying also to do some agility. And then I put them in contact, the two of them, the one in Latin America. They were same company trying to do the same.
So you can now connect Bosnia as well.
Yeah, and connect three of you, right?
Of course.
Actually, I think somebody will call you from Russia and tell you, buy this book.
Actually, I think
We
Roche
write
is in
down
a global.
the name of the book.
It's a global company.
No. Roche is in a global initiative for
Agility,
implementation
yeah.
of agility in different countries, because they call me from different countries to do the class on this also. And I was
They
working
are
in
doing
Barcelona.
everywhere.
Yeah, I was
And
working
now
in
I'm in
Barcelona.
Asia, and in Asia they are looking also for an experienced agile coach, and in Madrid the same. Okay, so let's go back to
This is the book Leading Exponential Change.
yes. So what's the question?
Sorry.
You're all four from Russia, right?
Three of us.
Three of us.
No, we have three.
I'm Tata.
Ah, okay.
So I'm also non-IT.
Okay, what you are then?
I work HR marketing.
Okay.
So I'm more interested in as well in putting agile in non-technical work.
Okay, so I have a friend in Madrid. She also wrote a story for my book. She's teaching agility for HR, and she called me last week if I could do like 10 minutes to talk during her teaching. And then she's doing a kind of tour now in Latin America and Spain, teaching HR about agility.
Yeah. Because I work in a very agile company, because it is a software company and all the teams are agile,
Yeah.
so I'm quite into it. But
No,
yes, but I'm struggling to find a way how to my work.
well, you need to read my book then, which is explained. Okay, so then, yes, what's the question? Oh,
Okay,
yes.
okay. I'm from company called Agile.
Yeah.
We are mainly focused on storage technologies like softwares for backup for enterprise companies. That's our, let's say, main focus. We do some other stuff, but this is, let's say, the biggest one. My name is Igor, but basically I'm working as technical lead in my company.
And what was
I
the
also
last
had
the last
roles-
time you cut your hair?
Last last time.
Your hair, because my brother, for example,
Maybe 6 months
had
ago, I don't
long
know.
hair, and then he has having the long hair for years and years. So people with long hair sometimes they have it for decades. Is that your case?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I
Actually,
want
I have phases. Sometimes it's like this,
Really?
like this, and this is the max.
to know. The maximum. You're not gonna have it longer.
Yeah, but when I was young,
Okay. Okay. You are still young, right?
relatively. But when I was in high school, let's say,
Anyone
I have
young,
longer.
anyone 1 year younger than me is young.
Okay.
And you
If
apply
that's
the same rule
criteria,
like
it's
everyone 1 centimeter lower than me is too short.
too short.
Like too rude. Okay, great. Cool. Thank you very much. So we're all okay. So go ahead with whichever.
So our question, I demand that we are always asking ourselves this question. As a company, as you said, I would like to know what were you doing for Roche?
Are you all
we
pharmacists?
are-
Sorry for disruption. Are you all 3 of us pharmacists?
Medical doctor, dental medicine doctor, pharmacy.
Ah, okay. But you are all from medical,
Yes.
some kind of medical
We are
school.
from,
Okay.
yes. So, as a company globally, we are going to transformation to become an agile company.
Yeah.
So, we were on many trainings. We learn a lot about it. And for example, what we have here in Bosnia is that we have.
Sorry to interrupt. Is this being recorded?
Yeah.
Then if you're talking about personal things about Roche, maybe it's better if we don't.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. I'm
yeah,
asking you.
I thought, yeah. You said that we can ask questions. For
Yeah, I
coaching.
mean, this, are you okay with the information you share? That's
Just
what
be
I'm asking.
careful to not share information.
No,
that
you
don't
can
have
do
to
as you
disclose.
want. I mean,
Ah, no.
is your privacy or your company's privacy maybe in jeopardy? That's why I'm asking. So it's for
Oh,
you, maybe
it's
because
not in jeopardy.
maybe we didn't know, but yeah. I was like, maybe she doesn't know that it's being
We
recorded.
wouldn't ask
I
that
said,
question
be careful,
in
you're
front
being
of-
recorded.
What we are having here as something that we are discussing all the time is that we have a small team, the team that has many different functions. We have kind of cross-functional teams, but we cannot focus on one particular project or a product because at one period of time, because there are so many projects and so many products and so little people.
Okay.
So actually we are always doing things very fast, adapting very fast. In a way we are agile, but not structured agile, how can I say?
Okay.
When we are listening to you, when we are
And what's your struggle there?
not, we cannot be focused.
Oh, okay, okay. So something we have to be clear is that perhaps what Angel is gonna say is different, and it's complementary or can be whatever, right? And the same with me.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a different perspective. They're both
So-
valid.
So what for me happened, and we were talking about mental agility, is that people do not get used to constant changes, right? And this is real. So the more technology we have, the more disruptions in the market generate, and the more people need to adapt to new situations. Unfortunately, that produces a lot of issues in our life and brain, because our brains are not prepared for what we call mental agility. And they invited me to go, I couldn't, in Argentina and Uruguay, to do a presentation for La Roche of how to increase mental agility, which is increasing the neuroplasticity in the brain. So there are certain things that you have to have in mind. The first one is how a changing context disrupts people. If you are changing context, then it is very hard for your brain to go back to the previous context, right? And we have a lot of research saying that if you do 3 things, you lose 30% of your capacity, right? And you deliver less. So saying that, companies have to have a very clear definition of business value. What is more important and why we are doing that.
and then people have to feel safe in whatever they are doing. And how we promote it, it has to have, from my perspective, certain clear rules, right? I understand that you have many projects and many things, and then having a clear definition of business value in the company, saying that what is more important, is a very complex problem because companies generally have scarce skills, people, and resources. This is something that is common when you start changing in a company, right? There is something which has to be more important than other things. Then something I talk in my book is about something called blocking collaboration. So when you are in an agile company, everyone expects people to collaborate. In fact, I worked for a consultancy in Spain, Everest, that in the contract they said that I have to collaborate with everyone requesting that collaboration. The problem is when you have are doing different things and then someone asks you for some collaboration, you are stopping whatever you are doing and you are collaborating with other person, right? Then when you have more than two things, it's more complex because someone else asks you for more collaboration and then you block other things. The problem with the blocking collaboration is that it's collaboration that looks very well intentioned, but perhaps you are doing something which is lower in priority. So that's why it's very important to have a clear definition of what is important to do now and why. Then we need to reduce multitasking. In fact, one company I was helping in New Zealand, a super big supermarket, I would tell, they were thinking of reducing the number of employees in the IT area, as they were paying a lot of money to SAP people, they pay in salary, just in salary 1 million in New Zealand dollars, which is like 800,000 a month, 800,000 just in salaries euro, right, which is 1,600,000 converted marks in salaries. And then what I discovered is, just by asking simple questions, we discovered that people were multitasking between several non-related tasks. So using some conversion where you can see the effort of the brain in doing some multitasking, and then Microsoft did some research, we concluded that for every euro they pay to those people, just 25 cents were converted into value. The rest 75 was lost as a result of people, doing multitasking and then jumping from non-related things. So this is why the first thing is to have a clear backlog with a good definition of business value and has to be visible for the company.
I will include something offering that also because Eric tackled a little bit from a philosophical point of view of why this is important. I would take the consulting part and see what problem I oversee there for more what to do, right? For more of possible practices. It's obvious that you start struggling to decide, and there are, in my opinion, maybe several reasons on why you're struggling to decide. So one of the reasons may be because you are having too big of a project. Yeah. So when you have big things, when you have a super big project, you say we'll start here, and this is going to be there. We're going to work on that for, let's say, 3 years. Yeah. Well, in the meantime, you have other needs. Yeah. In the meantime, something else comes, and you have to do also the purple projects, and you also have to do the red projects, and they are all very important. Yeah. So the more projects you have, the more difficult it is to finish, and you have to complete the project. Because that's the commitment. You have to complete the project. Yep. Well, the thing is, this strategy doesn't help you much because the projects pile up not because your business is very bad. It is because the speed in which you are capable to complete is not compatible with the speed that the market is requiring. The market requires you to go faster. And well, you cannot multiply your resources or your time available for a project. You cannot do that. Yeah. So because it's also, if you scale, you decide to scale and have more people, you also need to deal with the complexity of adding more people. So it doesn't really help you finishing faster. And it's actually, if you focus on this is the promise. We have to complete. So how to complete? Go faster. Yeah, go faster. Well, this is one perspective, and yes, this is not helpful. Yeah, not helpful. What is helpful? Well, if instead we think on completing, you think about investing. You have to invest. And you don't have a project that you have to complete. You have a hypothesis, a business hypothesis that you decide to invest on. Yeah, it's a different approach. So I don't have to complete. I want to learn if it's a good idea or not. So it's not about building it faster, it's about learning something. Yeah, learning incrementally. So what does it mean in practice? Well, instead of thinking, I have to complete all this, you say, I have a business hypothesis. I think this project A might be a good idea. Let's invest small and let's see if this is a good idea. And you have a small piece and you focus on this small piece. And you say, now first period, small period, let's say 1 month, we're going to focus on learn and understand out of this business hypothesis and see if it's a good idea or not. I don't want to complete. I want to finish a small piece so that I learn out of this. Yeah? I want to complete the whole thing. And then this project comes into the picture. And I again don't have to complete the project. I want to try this piece, right? And I can decide and say, what is better to try next? Is it better to try next step 2 on brown project? Or is it better to try next step 1 in purple project? And then you can decide. You say, what is more important now? What is better a hypothesis to test? What do you want to invest on? Because it's also 1 month. And you can say, let's work here on 1. Yeah? And then this comes into the picture. Red project comes into the picture. And you can decide, okay, well, we have here different possibilities. We can invest on the 2 in the brown project, 2 in the purple project, or 1 in the red project. And you can make a decision. Yeah? And you choose. What is more important for us? Well, actually, it's more important for us.
The problem is that in big companies, this is a complex thing, right?
Of course, because you have to change the product, you have to change the portfolio management strategy and the budget management strategy. Because it usually works like, wait, I have money for brown, complete brown, but this investment strategy doesn't help you much. Yeah? Because your goal here is to complete. And actually, if you think as a wiser way to invest your money, you will never invest your money to complete work. You invest your money to ensure you get a return on your money, right? It's easy when you work with somebody else's money. It's easy to say, okay, let's build the whole thing. Let's do a 3-year-long investment, and then let's see what's happen. Let's see what happens. But if you have your own company, you will never do that. You will never do, okay, I will put 3 million there and wait 3 years, and then see if it's a good idea or not. Yeah? If you have your own company, what smells is invest really small, and you have to put small cap. So how to do this? And this is the PMO, your project management office can help you with that. Put cap, small limit. But no business hypothesis can be bigger than this number of teams working during this number of months, for example, you put a cap and say this is our limit. Why? Because it's not that if you have money you can complete it. It's if you can handle the complexity, so you can limit the amount of things that you can have in progress. Therefore, you can still complete the work fast and get the feedback. And this is where the true business agility comes from. Capability to fastly decide. You will be able to fastly decide if you split in smaller and controlled chunks. Yeah? So the problem, one of the possible source of the problem is you have money, this project is approved, you have to complete. New things come, project is approved, also have to complete. Yeah? It's not because the business is bad at deciding. It's because the business is bad at splitting.
Yeah, Angel, I'm gonna show.
This is my perspective.
I'm gonna show you a framework I created, and it's also
Tell me, my friend.
included in the book that perhaps is going to help. This is like, in order to do this, I recommend a circle. Let's see, I have it here. Which is the first thing you need to do is you use fast feedback loops. Oops.
Good, but
I think it's
yeah, it's broken.
it's broken. Yes.
Yes, it is.
And this is the first step. So the first step, and this is a circle, right? Is you use fast feedback loops to discover, which means that you do something and then you decide and you do something and you decide and you do something and you decide. The second one, are you still there?
Yeah,
Is
but
deliver
it's gonna fall down again.
again. The second step is what do I need to deliver high quality value early and often. So imagine if you have a product, how do I deliver value? And the important thing is early means that it's an experiment, and often I do it constantly, right? This is the second thing. Then the third point is optimize value. End to end, which means that whatever you do, you take a look at the whole, value stream since the customer or wherever until you deliver that, not just the one little part. And then the last part, which is crucial here, is diminish scarce resources. This is for me the initial alignment that you need. So initial scarce resources is whatever you can automate in the company, you're going to automate, because instead of needing 100 people, you're going to need one computer, right? And you try to automate. So you iterate this circle once and again, and every time you ask questions. For example, am I using feedback loops to discover something? Should I continue in this direction or not? Should I keep founding this or not? Then the second is, am I delivering something that is valuable for the customer or not? Right? And I doing it early and often or not? Then, am I optimizing the whole thing or just a little area of the company? And the finally is, am I diminishing the scarce resources? For example, if I have something that I have just 5 things and I need 15, how I can automate that in some way that I'm gonna diminish scarce resources. And this is a circle you do once and again again in the company. And in fact, I helped a company a long time ago in London called AstraZeneca. You know AstraZeneca, they do experiment with people, right? AstraZeneca.
Pharmaceutical.
It's a pharmaceutical,
for
yeah.
healing, no?
Yes, they have.
It was very strange, as I had access to
They're
the
doing Pulmicort, right?
databases.
Yes, I know.
And then so if you have scarce resources, I'm not just talking about people, because people don't want to be told, we don't call them resources, but the skills or whatever, you have to find a way to diminish it. Otherwise, there is no possibility to solve it, right? And then you need to see it from end to end. Because if I need 100 people to do something and I have 5, there is no possible way to solve that problem. You can make it smaller, sometimes you can't. If you are trialing a drug with something, you can't make it smaller. It has to be certain steps. Then how we do it, how we solve that problem. Then the only way to do it is by automating or replacing something by artificial intelligence, or something that I can automate, or a process that I can simplify. Now sometimes you can't, because they are very strict with certain steps, and you can do it. But then this is a circle that you need to do once and again, and you need to ask this question once and again. So I'm close to the customer, I'm discovering, I'm making decisions. Do I have budget that if I do not reach a certain point, I just take the budget away, or I found more? Is it something that is clear for me, I'm delivering value? Because if it's 3 months, perhaps a lot of time, then I'm optimizing it in a way that people feel comfortable, and finally am I diminishing the scarce resources? And then you go in this loop. Okay, so this is some ideas for you.
Is that helpful?
Well,
That
actually,
means no.
what you said, your first answer was actually something that we have to do, prioritize. I mean, we are doing it always and asking ourselves, but I was just thinking if there is some experience that you had, something that we didn't come up to. There are many methods to do
Well,
that.
the first thing
There
you
are
have to define is why we are doing this.
What
Because
is your domain? What is your problem?
Sorry?
What is your domain you are working, domain, and what is your problem you're trying to solve, except for multitasking, right?
I don't understand. What is our problem?
Yes, you're trying to solve.
The problem is that we have so many projects, so many priorities, and we are a small team. It makes sense, and we are learning the agile and transforming to agile in globally, but in little offices where there are so many.
Maybe it has to do with the expectation we have in Agile. So expectation is not going to, so Agile is not going to help us developing faster. Okay. The Agile perspective is not, Agile is not about delivering faster. It is about being able to adapt easier. But one of the elements, clear elements to adapt easier, you have to split in smaller pieces. So you are struggling because you are accepting a lot of things, you are saying a lot of yes, but you don't have capacity out to do it. And you do yes, you say yes to this, and boom, 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 to a lot of things. So you have to start putting caps according to your pipeline, and saying no, or this is too big. So we don't have the space now, or this is too big. So split and discard. Split and discard. Split and discard. If you don't split and discard, and you continue saying yes, nothing is going to help you, ever.
Yeah.
So, you get the point?
Yeah, it's,
So
it's
what
more,
you have
it's
to
more
do is-
about
It's
the
go.
impact of the project.
What you have to do is you have to speak up and say this, because you know how you feel now. You feel, yeah, but the reality is they push me to complete. Well, you have to talk and say, this is the capacity we have. The trade-off is we have to split.
Regarding what
Can you do
Alfred
that?
says,
Can you do that?
Yes.
Yeah. Will you do that? Will you have that conversation?
We are having that conversation all
We
the
are
time.
working on it. Learning
So
to
put
say
that-
no.
So
Put a
next
cap.
time we see each other, I will answer.
Yeah, I like that. So you put a cap and say we have to get together and put a cap for the input according to our capability for output. And split it into small things. Never think about a project that is bigger than 3 months, ever. If it's bigger than 3 months, split it. Split it. And you always can split. So even if you have to build a plane, you start building a wheel. You always can split it. And then if it's still a good idea, go for the next step. If it's still a good idea, go for the next step. Never commit to something really big, because that's what towards your agility. If you think big, you don't have agility to react. That's why you are accepting, and you have a big pile of big yeses. Can you do that?
Yes.
Can you do that?
Yes.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Very good.
No, I just wanted
We'll
to
keep
say
you
that
updated.
before that conversation happened, what I do in companies, something that they are not aware is that I ask people with features or things that they have to do to classify in these 4 quadrants, right? And I said, okay, so this thing you're gonna do, what is gonna happen with this? It's gonna increase your revenue. It's going to protect your revenue, means that you're gonna keep the same. It's gonna reduce cost, or it's gonna avoid cost, right? And then where this feature is. And then I ask them to put it in the, it sometimes can be both, but I ask them to decide where it goes, right? And then when we have all the feature or whatever you want to do there, that has to be small, then I said, okay, what is more important for you at the moment? Is increasing revenue, is protecting revenue, is whatever the value you deliver, because the main issue we have in general with product owners or leaders is that they don't know how it affects the whole ecosystem. And then for some companies is, for example, protect revenue. We want to do something that's gonna protect revenue. So then this is more important, right? So this one is gonna go first, right? So this helps you structure. As for me, any feature you do are one of these 4 things. There are no other thing for me, right? Whatever you deliver to the customer is just one of these 4 things. And then you have to ask the company, what is more important of these 4 things at the moment? Then it can change. If they understand that perhaps they want to increase revenue, this is gonna be more important, right? And then you discard the second, and then you can make this one smaller. Okay, and this is what we do before making things smaller. Okay. Okay. Next question. Okay, just
You're just breaking things. You broke the chair. You throw the water.
we
you broke
usually
this.
break things in order to repair them
Oh
after,
my
right?
God. So
To make them better.
Can we help? How can we be helpful for you?
I have one question regarding leadership. That's this subject, but yeah. Okay, Marcus. Okay. We have normal structure, Scrum structure, product owner, Scrum master, developers. But company decide to have technical lead into development team. Okay. Do you have experience how to align technical lead responsibility with other roles into the
Can you be more specific? What if we have experience between trying to align, you said?
yeah technical lead responsibility with other roles responsibility into Scrum.
Like
I think I got it.
Yeah.
I think I got it. So the first question for me is,
Where is the border?
the first question for me is, do you want to do Scrum?
I want.
I mean, the
Want.
company. Does the
Company also want, but company wants to have one guy with technical responsibility regarding, I don't know,
decisions or something.
Yeah.
decisions when we try to decide what is the solution between the
Yeah.
team members
So
on
I
technical
will,
side.
I will put it a different way. It is very clear in this Scrum framework that there are some, not many, but some like specific rules of the game, and all the rules have a reason. Yeah, so it's not about this, like committing to the rule. It's about understanding what is that rule for. Right? And there is specific rule in Scrum that say there are no other roles of sub teams that the Scrum Master roles and development team members. There is no other role. There's one specific rule of the game. Right?
Yeah.
It's like when you decide to play chess, right? So you can only move the castle in a specific way. It's one of the rules of the game. You say, no, I want to play chess, but I want to be able to move the castle as if it was the horse. Well, then it can't be called chess, right? It can be called your chess. Yeah? But this is important to make that clear definition. Okay, we don't want to do Scrum. We want to do something that has iterations, that has daily stand-ups, and that has roles in it. So it's nothing against that. It's the first step for us to be clear what we're doing, because otherwise people might get confused. People get to your company and they go to another company after and say, where is my team lead? Because the Scrum there is a team lead. Yeah. Then it's understanding why is that rule important. Now, why is it important that we have no team lead or all the roles in Scrum? That is important because you want a shared responsibility of the sprint goal within the development team. Yeah, so it's one of the important pillars of Scrum is to build this shared responsibility. Yeah. It's about commitment to the sprint goal in a way that we avoid the possibility of, like somebody in the team relying on someone else. So I'm doing whatever he is doing. Yeah. Instead, Scrum is strongly based on teamwork. So one of the strong pillars is this is a teamwork-oriented way of delivering products. It's teamwork, teamwork, and teamwork, and teamwork. If you appoint a team leader, you break that. Yeah? So you break one of the main values, which is teamwork. If you make someone responsible for the team, that means that the team will be non-responsible, right? And they will say, I was doing whatever they told me to do.
Yeah. I agree.
So if you are in that situation, I strongly encourage you to point out this problem and saying, we cannot have team leaders in our Scrum teams, because if we do that, people won't take responsibility. And to me, that's also an underlying reason why this is happening, which is we don't really want to change into a team-based structure. We still want to relate to someone when it comes to decisions. So we don't really want to change the core. Yeah. So, and that's for me is even more risky. So why do you want to implement a teamwork-based framework to build a product if in reality your actions are speaking for your purpose, which is in reality I want one person to keep control and not having any teamwork-based structure. You know what I mean? I would encourage you to point out that as something to get rid of, so that there is no team lead. Otherwise, you will be breaking Scrum and not having teamwork happening. Point out that's a limit. It's like I want to go to the gym and get healthy, but I want to drink beer in the gym during my workouts and eat cake after my workout. So you can do it, but it's not going to help, right? Just you should point out, well, look, cake is sugar, it's not a good idea. Beer is empty calories and is not the best option for hydrating yourself during the workout. Drink water, and when you finish, eat some proteins. It's not going to be fun, but it's going to get you closer to your purpose, right? So I would do that.
Yeah,
I
agree with you. That is company's decision.
Point out, and so So sometimes it happens like this. So you're helping someone to improve their health, and then someone say, yes, but I want to eat cake and I want to drink beer. And you say, do you understand and acknowledge that this is going to get you farther from your purpose, and it's going to prevent you to get the result you have? Yes, and still I want to be slower and reaching my purpose. Okay.
No problem, yeah.
No problem. Right? Point it out frequently. Say, cake is not good. Cake is not good. You are still fat because you're eating cake. Right? This is the more you can do.
I think that in general, in companies where I see this kind of behaviors, it's because the software is extremely complex. As a result of being extremely complex, everyone can mess up, and then they need someone to be responsible for that. One of the solutions I proposed in many companies is two things. The first is make the software simple. Is there anything you can do to make it simple? Second, make sure you have very strong tests, so nobody can break anything. If you can't break anything, what's the point of having a leader, right? So this is a clear case where technology can use diminish the barriers of, in my opinion, of having an impact on how people structure their teams, right? So if the software is simple and then you have tests that it's impossible to break anything, teams tend to be more flat, right? So there is no, when this kind of thing, you need to work like in different dimensions. One dimension is making suggestions, another dimension is explaining what happened, and then there is another dimension which is changing some habits, right? So for example, if I don't want to put on weight, and I love Coca-Cola, then if the Coca-Cola is on the 5th floor and I have to go upstairs and all the time, I'm not gonna probably drink a lot of Coca-Cola, right? Because it's hard to get it there. In these cases, I would say certain behaviors make it very difficult to happen. Make difficult to happen and easy to happen the good behaviors. So in this case, for example, difficult to happen that people break the software, difficult to happen that they make a change, it has to be simple, and very, very easy to make changes on the software. So what you try to do here is you make a list of good behaviors and bad behaviors, and you make, with using software or other techniques, very easy to go on the behaviors you want, right? Because again, if the software is very easy to change and there is nothing you can break, why you want a technical leader?
Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Okay. Did it help?
I have a question for you guys.
Yes.
My dear friend, have you ever seen a company in your life in which you go and they tell you, here, software is simple?
No, but I have a case. No, but I have a case.
They always tell you this is the most complex thing you will ever see in my life. If you look at the software, you will become blind.
Right, but I said make it simple, which said, but this did happen in one of the companies. I think the software was very complex because they needed to do so many complex things, and they simplify it. And other thing they need to simplify is not software. In that company, they needed to have an auditor to audit the software before going public, because they have public shares, and then they have to, there is a person auditing the software. So what we also simplified was the process. Instead of the guy finishing the software and passing it to the auditor, we included the auditor into the team. The problem is the salary for the auditor was very high. How we solved that, we demonstrated that by moving the software to the auditor was more expensive than paying the salary to the auditor and being inside the team. So at the time of finishing the software, they have to release it, the auditor already approved it. So making changes not in software but in processes also helps solve the problem, right? So if nobody can break the software, if the software was simplified, let's not say simple but simplified, also the other step that you have to do are very easy because everyone is there, then why having a leader? Now the second issue you can have is that the leader is perhaps going to be upset because he wants to be the leader of the team, he got used to it. Yeah. And then this is another question.
Another problem.
Yes.
Well, and actually, we can maybe reuse, were you in my workshop before?
Yeah.
This about leadership? Because maybe there is also a mismatching in this definition, right? So we said technical leader, so that doesn't necessarily means that that person is capable to influence others to the technical perspective, right? So you cannot appoint them. So we have instead is a technical manager, right? Which is he makes the decision whether the people like it or not. No?
Actually, our structure is this. We have technical head of technology. He communicates with technical
managers.
Yeah.
That they
in
make
the team
the
about technical practices
yeah.
into that team.
Yeah.
Not solutions for building software, just technical practices.
Online technical practices. So what this means, you are centralizing the management of the technical decisions, right?
Yeah, but as Scrum Master, I try to work with my technical lead one-on-one and try to discuss with them why it's so important to share with other guys into the team?
Let me tell you something. One second. I'm sorry for that. In one company I held, we have communities of practice, and then we converted the communities of practice into some votation. So it worked in this way. Imagine that some technical lead wanted to do, something specific, change a language or whatever, right? Then he had to do in the communities of practice that they were once a week, every 2 weeks, convince people, then teach first, and then convince people that that was the right direction to go, because at the end of the session, people have to vote if they wanted to go in that direction. So we did it collaboratively. And if people did not understand the problem, and then they didn't vote in favor, they couldn't make the change. So the leaders spent a lot of time trying to make sure they understand the problem, and teaching them the skills for them to go in the right direction. A collaborative adoption.
What I was saying there is that they are actually trying to centralize the decision making on technical issues, which involves not properly using the perception or the knowledge of all the team members. If you, as Eric said, if you want to get people aligned, to create an informal structure, so people can't say, okay, I did this because he is technical lead, so he makes technical decisions and he's doing whatever he tells me to do. To avoid that effect of a formal structure, make that informal. I mean, we are all team members, development team members, and create informal spaces so people from different teams, they can get together and they can make technical decisions. And naturally, the people that are more interested and knowledgeable about topic will be influencing more and will be participating more in a natural way. Yeah. So the leaders will be the real leaders, not managers. Leaders will identify themselves and will influence themselves. And your responsibility as Scrum Master is to ensure that they are capable to discuss, to influence more efficiently for a more aligned decisions. And that's, we can call it community of practices, and this is a great thing that you need in an organization to happen, so people get aligned, right? And having a formal structure of decision making and management of technical decisions is something that doesn't help you. So I will try to have conversation with your boss, with this head of development, about the potential risks for having this as a formal management structure, and the potential advantages of having this as an informal collaboration, leadership, self-revealing leadership managed topic, which is the technical decisions. Right?
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, we'll go for the next one. Next one. If you had any question.
Product owner in development team, because we're small affiliates, and if I'm product owner, I will probably be a part of the development team as well, because of the expertise and everything. Is that a problem, or
and being development team member?
can it be?
You have that now?
Well, we are trying, so we had some sprints and everything, but in a perspective, we see that as a problem, because how we are divided now, we have different expertise, and if I have some project, I have to be part of. I mean, I should be part of it, because no one else can do that part. But I need help from other colleagues that have other expertise. So.
What's your question? Can be more concrete?
Well, if you have a product owner and you have development team,
Yes.
can a product owner be part of a development team as well?
And developing
To
also.
play
Yes.
two roles.
Okay, so
roles.
the problem with
One
two
person.
roles is always the same. When I have two tasks and I have to do them, which one is going to be more important? And I have to do both of them. Should I go for apart from all leadership things, at the end of the day, you have to make a decision. Should I go for this role? Should I go for this one? And then when there is an urgency and people make pressure, am I going to be a developer or am I going to be a product owner? And then which one I'm gonna do? If I do one, I'm pushing the other way, I'm delaying the other one, right? And if I do this one, it depends. If I do one, I delay the other, and if I do this one, I delay the other one, right? And then generate certain constraints, and you need, in at least my perspective in Agile, you need a clear understanding of your, when you have a role, you need to understand your responsibilities and your rights. What are your rights and what are your responsibilities? And when you have two roles, some of these rights and responsibilities can be contradictory.
I would add to that, okay, to answer your question from a, let's say, more formal perspective, because can development team member be a product owner according to Scrum guidance? Yeah, so there's no limit on that. There's a specific limit on the product owner not being Scrum Master. Yeah. And to me, it's a bad smell. Yeah. It's strange. Right? One reason is what Eric said. The other question for you is, what do you want to get out of having product owners? Yeah. What do you want to get out of having product owners?
I mean, if I have a vision or something I want to do, and I need help from other colleagues, I want to implement this method and everything. I don't know if I have
What for do you?
part of her expertise, no one else.
Yeah, no one
team
can replace.
knows. So
Yeah, but
she's
what do
also
you,
the
what
one
is
with
the,
the vision and one with the expertise to do.
yeah, but,
The
So
deliver.
can we have development team without product owner?
no, I'm asking, no, okay, so I'm asking you, what do you want to get out of that? And if you say, I want to have a product owner because the method tells me I have to have a product owner, maybe we need to rephrase what do we want to get out of having product owners, yeah? So, and actually you started to say it, so we have product owners so that someone is ensuring that we maximize the return of the investment of the time and effort development. Yeah. So it's someone who holds the vision, right? So we have a single point of decision making, so that we are all the time making the most out of our time and effort. Yeah. This is the purpose. This is why we have a product owner. It's not about gathering requirements or writing user story, because it's something that a product owner doesn't do, right? It's about decision making and maximizing the return on the investment. So my question for you is, can your product owner cancel a project? Say, this, we're not going to do it. Yeah? Okay. Can your product owner decide when to release and say, this is going to be released now? Yeah. Can your product owner say, this sprint will be cancelled because we are working in the wrong direction?
Yes, probably, I don't know. But
Yeah. Can a product owner connect development team members with stakeholders so they can understand firsthand what is to be done?
he is in a relationship with customers, and that's how he got the vision, and he gave it to development team to develop.
No. It's not a person in the middle.
Uh-huh.
So he connects.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So the product owner shouldn't be a person in the middle that translates from business to
So
the
he
team.
could.
That's the role. But he should not do that. He
Okay,
has to
okay.
connect. So the development team members themselves talk the business. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So can the product owner get management together so we can make decisions on what's more important to do next?
Yes.
Does he have the time to reorder the backlog if needed?
This one in the.
Yeah, this one that you have.
Yes, yes.
So then yes. So if that person can do anything that is needed and expected from the role, yeah, and is still contributing to the development, yeah, then it's a yes. But it's very important for that person that can focus on that type of work. I rarely see those situations. Because usually people that can make that kind of decisions are higher in the organization because they have decision-making power. Like, this project is useless, we don't do it. Yeah. So if a person is developing and doing that, either we're talking about a very, very small environment, very, very small company,
Yeah,
which
we
I
are.
think is not.
37 people, so we are. So. We're doing
37, yeah,
that.
exactly. So then it makes sense to have it, as long as we ensure that the product owner effect happens. Product owner effect is maximizing the return on the investment. Not translating requirements, yeah, not writing user stories, yeah, not doing analysis for a team, yeah. This is decision making role.
Angel, something you say is important and we generally see is that product owner has to have power to remove obstacles in other parts of the organization, so you generally have a lot of power. When you put a developer, unfortunately, or is a developer, unfortunately that person do not have much power sometimes for so many reasons, hierarchical reasons, salary reasons. Some people do not get recommendation from other people that have lower salaries, and then they can't influence the company, and then that creates many problems. Okay, so one more question. I don't know what time we're finishing with this.
No, what time? What time
It's
is it?
4 o'clock.
The next session is mine in 4:15, I think. So
Okay.
we have time.
15 minutes, so we have time for the last topic.
Yes,
Any questions?
if you have.
Yeah, I have one. I joined late, but
Okay, you have to
Please,
come on this side.
here.
There is no late
but
here.
I'm not sure if you already discussed this topic.
Okay,
so if
we
you did,
we let you know and we kick you out of the room.
Sounds good. So the project that I'm currently working on, the client, is introducing a lot of change requests during the sprint. So we need to implement change management during our sprint at least once, sometimes even twice. So obviously
You
it's a
sorry,
problem.
I didn't hear you, sorry. I didn't hear you.
Yeah, so we are doing a lot of change management.
Change management.
Change management,
You're
yeah.
changing sprint backlog during the sprint or what?
Yeah, we have a client who is indecisive
So
about
the
their
question is for me,
priorities.
that is before, so I can have more context. What does it mean change management for you?
So changing the scope of work that we are doing inside the sprint. So
Okay.
we
You
need
have
So
a
you're
lot
doing
of
something
change
and
of
things
scope.
change.
You have
Yeah.
a lot of change of scope during the sprint.
Yeah,
Okay.
because the client is not very clear with their priorities. We start sprint with one goal, and then in 2-3 days, the client realizes that they have a big release coming on, that they maybe forgot a feature. They ask if we can put in this task. Of course, we remove something from the sprint, we put in something new. But my question, since I was preparing for the official Scrum Master certification, there was a question on the mock-up exams that I did, like, can the sprint goal be changed? And I answered yes, because I thought it can, since obviously we are.
Okay, can I answer this one?
Yeah, so
Yeah, well, let's answer from a formal perspective and then from a practical perspective. Yeah, actually, I'm curious, what certification do you want to?
the Scrum Master one.
Which one?
PSM.
Oh, PSM Scrum Master certification, like the starting point. Okay. So, in order to help you answering that questions in the exam, the answer is no. You cannot change the scope of the sprint. Either the sprint goal or the sprint backlog. You cannot change that. You can do changes during the sprint that doesn't ever put in danger the sprint goal.
It's generally adding more
So-
things.
So if the-
Yes, so if you're working in a direction in which you notice is not helpful anymore, you can cancel the sprint. Actually, not you, but the product owner can cancel the sprint. Yeah. Well, this is from one side. From the other side, there is a reason for that. Yeah, which is one of the main values of Scrum, which is focus. Yeah, we want to focus. So there is a trade-off that happens here. So our teams will say, okay, we're going to work in smaller iterations, so that we can focus for 1 week, or for 2 weeks, or for 4 weeks. Whatever your sprint length is, and we focus, yeah, so that in order to start your sprint, you should be ready. And ready means the work is clear and is understood and is the highest priority. And that's why you have a product owner. Product owner focus on what's next, yeah, And this is very important that you comply with, otherwise you will be running with no direction. Yeah? So what you're doing, it doesn't help you developing the product. And you really don't have to make all those changes. You accept to make those changes because maybe it's not visible what is the effect of this. Try to do this. When the customer changes, you explain. So what is your role in the company?
Currently Scrum Master.
Scrum Master. So inform the product owner of what are the effects of changing this direction. Yeah? So that we ensure that we are always working in whatever is more important now, and we make a commitment at the beginning. The second thing that you can do is you can try to shorten your sprint to one week, for example, but still, as you said, in your situation, not even 1 week is enough to keep direction. So then show your stakeholders the importance of maintaining this focus for the sake of completing work. And if it doesn't happen, make it visible what is the impact. Yeah? Just don't hesitate to explain your product owner the importance of stopping the sprint and canceling the sprint. I suggest him to, okay, so cancel the sprint and explain, this is a crisis, this is a problem, we're here wasting time and effort, right? So the worst, in my experience, the worst thing about doing something wrong is when nothing happened and it looks to be right. Because then you will do it again and again and again and again. Yeah. So it's really wrong. You say, well, okay, nothing happened. It's okay. We'll try to fix it. Then you do it again. Yeah. So make it really painful. So this is not helpful. We should keep direction at least during 1 week. Yeah. Otherwise, we are not doing Scrum. We are not delivering. We are not finishing work. So stress that out. We cannot do that.
Perhaps you shouldn't use Scrum. Perhaps you use Kanban. But in Scrum Masters, what I recommend sometimes is quantifying. I mean, sometimes you can't quantify the emotional part for the team members of canceling something they invested a lot of effort, right? But imagine that you have a kid and you invest a lot of effort, paying for some school for him to learn English. And then after the person had learned English, I said, I hate English, I do not want to speak English in my whole life, right? It's a waste of time. So when they develop something, there is a connection between emotions and what you invested time, and this is important. It's very difficult to quantify that. But yes, you can quantify canceling this, the economic impact of that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think the main pain point is that our kind of culture and vision of our company is to try to make our clients implement Scrum, even if they are not, even if they don't have it implemented in.
You need to teach also your client,
yeah, so
and
we
I can
are
say
trying to do that, but at some points it's failing, obviously.
Yeah, well,
Can I ask something as a product owner?
Yeah.
So your customers have the right to add to your product backlog directly, sort of over the product owner, or your product owner
No,
does that
it
for
comes
them?
from the product owner.
Who is accepting that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
The product owner is on the client side, and I, as a Scrum Master, am communicating with him. And I mean, obviously, our client is not accepting.
Yeah, well,
This is
that's-
just something that I did at one of the companies, this sort of experiment that you can do with your customer, especially if the product owner is on the customer side. You could try and see how long are your sprints? 2 weeks. Okay, that's not that much. It's still okay. So you could do a sort of experiment for 1 sprint, and say to them, let's try 1 sprint without any interruptions, and see how fast the team is going to go and what the delivery will be, as opposed to all the other sprints where you had interruptions. Just to show them sort of how much they're losing on the value of each sprint while they're introducing these interruptions. And another thing is, yes, to shorten the sprint. Just to
Chef Sutherland recommends one thing I remember now, which is every time a client asks for a new thing to be introduced into the sprint, we cancel the sprint and we start from the beginning.
So there, you can do it for approaching or for getting far, right? I actually like your point very much. Like demonstrate that it's effectively better, and the other point is demonstrate that it's effectively painful, right? So you have both options. And the thing is, what I really wouldn't do, sorry about that, Eric.
That's fine.
It's just saying, okay, let's accept this situation, and now we do Kanban. There's nothing wrong with Kanban, but don't use it as an excuse not to order the work and prioritize, right? Because I see that happening in several organizations, saying, we struggle to make decisions, so let's use a more flexible approach, so no planning. Free for all. Just trace how they work. So people will feel super comfortable. They say, yes, this is great.
Well, but perhaps there is more volatility than, you know, that can happen. There is a lot of volatility.
What I saw when this happens, and I did see this, switching to Kanban just to solve this problem of constant interruptions, but it happens again, because the team starts working on the first thing, and in the middle of that, boom, interruption.
Yeah.
And you get, again, if the mindset is there, that the interruption is okay, it's going to happen regardless of the timeline that you have.
Absolutely.
So this approach needs to change.
So you have many options here. You can play with them and then see what happens.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what I would for sure is get them understanding this. The thing is, now you want to do Scrum, the customer doesn't see any benefits or any reason. So why to listen to you? Why to make decisions if I still cannot make decisions, change all the time, and I'm comfortable? I have no problem, I have no reason, right? You will still, even if it's wrong, accept this as a right. Accept this as good.
Sometimes it happened that the product owner was their manager before, so he gets used to pushing people to do things. And in that case, I recommend changing the person for someone who was not the manager, or swapping when you have two teams that they manage this team and this one, we swap them so the other people do not know that it's a manager. Did it help, guys? Because we are almost on the time. Did it get any
I
answer?
just have a question for other people. Is it like?
Are you gonna still connect with them, right?
No, I'm just thinking, am I the only one who came with this problem?
No, everybody's struggling, especially when you start implementing Scrum.
I would say welcome to the boat.
It's very frequent.
It's very common.
This is super frequent.
But I think it's not the product owner here. To get to the situation, okay, you don't have probably influence to your customers, such influence, so you have to adapt. But
yeah, but something that I explain to people in the product owner classes is about the mindset of an entrepreneur versus the mindset of an employee. So if you're an entrepreneur and you have to do something that is very painful, which is putting the hand in your pocket, take the money out and give to someone else, right? And if I have to do that and get money out of the pocket and say, let's do it blue, put money. I say, no, do it red. Again, money. No, do it orange. So you feel that you are investing and getting nowhere, and it's your money. I promise you will stop that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
More clear in the direction. But if you have people that they behave as employee, I just have to complete this and be closer to whatever I've been asked to complete by boss, but not with my money. Oh, let's do this, let's do that, I can push you, I'm playing with my toys. Now do this, now do that, now do this, now do
That happened with public employees.
No, with employees that they use someone else's money in different ways, and they would use their own money. So that's why, from my perspective, product owners should behave like entrepreneurs.
Time to finish.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. I hope
Thank you.
helped you and you enjoy the last session.
Thank you.